What's up, dudes? Are we live or what? Let me get my ear monitors in. This is some high-tech stuff we got happening. So, welcome. Thursday night live. Pardon me. Thursday night live, number 4. If you can believe it, we made it all the way to number 4. So we're doing something right. We're gonna get right to it tonight, dudes. We got a special guest. He has not been, not that I can remember, has he been too much involved? I know he's been around and made some comments and things, but this is gonna be enlightening, maybe. I don't want to say excited. That's not the right word. I want to say I am intrigued to learn more. God, I try to do this every time and it don't work. This aging thing's for the birds. But anyway, let's get right to it. Got a special guest tonight, and so we're gonna step this thing up on Tuesday Night Live. So welcome, dudes. And as we segue, I'm gonna bring Jared on, and we'll bring our guest on. But I want to segue with it. I want to always come back to something from prior to week and then come into this week and what's hitting me this week. And I think Michael said it, and if not, maybe one of his mentors said it. But the phrase is, it's simple. Doesn't mean it's easy. So a lot of these things that we communicate and convey and relay wisdom and knowledge on, essentially very, very, very simple. The task, the duties, what's required, very simple, but it's not easy. So how does that relate to tonight? What this gentleman, what this dude has been through, he may be able to say, looking back, it was simple but not easy. I don't want to say that. I'm not putting words in his mouth. But at the end of it, why I wanted to use that was, like, this dude, it was not easy what he went through. So I know enough that I was in I kind of remember this a little bit, but I'm really curious to see where this goes. So I'm going to start hitting some buttons, guys. Give me just a second. Thursday Night Live Dude Reset. We made it to number 4, and we've got ourselves a special guest tonight. So stick around, and all right, there's Jared. Welcome, Thursday Night
Oh,
Live.
sir.
Jared, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Did you get to hear my intro?
Yeah, it's a mystery. I don't know if you've said his name yet, though, right?
I haven't. But
Good.
aside from the mystery, um, definitely what this dude's been through has not been easy. And to be honest, I don't know what stage he's at now. So I'm learning more, but about the process, and that's what all this stuff is a process. Dude Reset is a mindset, and so um, I think this guy probably had, one way or the other that he could have went in life, with the situation at hand. And I can assure you, his mindset played a factor, because if you give up on yourself, hang it up. It doesn't matter what happens. Sometimes God has plans for us that we don't always know the answers to. I know that sometimes to some people that feels like a cop out, but I'm to the point in my life now that I have so many unexplainable things that have happened to me, whether I'm prepared or unprepared for, that I have to give it to somebody, because I can't hold on to it, right? And that's what they say God can do for us. So regardless of level of what and who, where we're at with that, that's my take on it, and that's what I'm gonna roll with. So anywho, what do you want to say about tonight's guest, and what we got happening, and what you're thinking, or what you want to swing from last week into this week? What you got going?
Oh, I think each week there's been some real good things that we've taken from it. And you're right. I think it was Michael that said it's simple. That doesn't mean it's easy. Accountability. I added 3 guys to my group on my morning commitments. So I'm trying to overcome my own little shortcomings, which is good. But I think the goal setting was good too. I've heard from other people that I've seen in person again that they're happy we're talking about this stuff. So I don't have anything. Special guest tonight is going to be Ryan Mueller. Ryan is a good friend of mine, went to high school with me, went to college with me. Ryan is a professional three-gun shooter. So he travels around the U.S. handling firearms and then is a spokesperson for the whole firearms industry. Got a great big story behind him. And then he also had a dude reset as he had a incident on a dirt bike that left him paralyzed, and that paralysis was temporary to a point. He's going to know a lot more about it, so I'll let you add Ryan in here. He knows that we're coming live and going to be a few minutes, so we'll see what happens next.
I don't see him just yet. Just
No worries. I got lucky tonight. I was in the event, and as the event happened, it popped up automatically. I normally have to look for a notification and then join, so
well, say something good. We don't need dead air right here. I mean, we
yeah, that
don't
is
need unnecessary air, but
sure. Do you have the ability to send him the request and then he's waiting to hit it? Is that it?
I don't know.
All right.
The way that I search, I it doesn't work. So I don't. We don't. We don't dig too deep. If tech works for me, we
Sure.
breeze. We breeze through. But as soon as it's like, hey, here you are. So, um, yeah, got a handful of people. I'd really like to see Ryan pop up in here.
Yeah, let me make a call real quick and then I can get back to that.
um, so we'll just transition. Do here a little waiting on Ryan time. But
You can invite
got
me.
something to say?
I'm going to leave this and then I'll have you re-invite me. I'm going to make a phone call and tell him, ask him what's going on. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, dudes, welcome. We're Tuesday Night Live, fourth one, man. We're a month into this now. Like there's something to be said for that. So, tonight's guest, we're stepping our game up for us, for you, for everybody, because it's what this is about. So tonight's guest, Ryan Mueller. Um, he's about as dude as it gets. He's a professional marksman. I don't know what the precise terms for that stuff are because there's precision shooters, there's marksmen. Jared said three guns. I don't even know what that means. Never heard that term before. So uh, either way, he's a professional. He's a professional shooter, and that's a big deal. And he got paralyzed in a dirt bike accident, and so uh, there's a lot that can be learned. And so my dad was in a wheelchair my whole life, and so that's part of my 40 plus motivation of being able to move my body is just that in itself. So let's see here. Oh, there's Ryan. All right, cool. So now if we get Jared back, it looks like we got Ryan coming on. I'm gonna give him a quick intro and then hopefully, hey, there he is. Microphone lower left. Looks like a long john with a. There we go. I hear some racket. Mic check. Mic check. I see you, but I don't hear nothing.
Hello.
Jared, you're good at explaining where that icon stuff is. I'm not real good at that. I said it looked like a makeable long john with me trying to eat it, but
Yeah, Mueller, lower left. You should have a microphone. Make sure your microphone's on.
it'll have a slash through it
He
if
might
it's
not have
on.
said anything yet. He might be really
All I'm
stoic.
telling him the mic check. I know he's old school, but
Can you hear me? Mueller, can you hear us?
I'm glad I'm not the only one. God, I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm also happy this is happening live.
That's all right. I knew you were panicked while I was on the phone with him.
There we go.
Hey,
Okay,
there it
mic
is.
check. You got us
That's
all.
better.
Your beard looks like Santa Claus.
Yeah, it's getting whiter, like all the time.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for being on here, man. We struggle with
Yeah,
this
yeah.
audio and everything and getting everybody joined up
I
each
don't
time.
see you
So,
guys anymore, but I see me, I guess, and I can hear you, so that's all that matters.
okay. Yeah. Perfect. Well, we got a few people watching. I know you haven't been on a Dude Reset Live. This is our fourth one. It's
I
just
watched the
been.
first one.
Did you? Good.
Yeah, I've been out of town for the other ones, but yeah, I saw the very first one you guys did.
Well, and then all the others exist still, so you can go back anytime and watch them if you want to.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. See Big
Uh,
Walt's here, and
yeah.
he's not robbing a plant.
Yeah. I invited him. Invited, and then just a few people a minute ago. It's tough in this private group. You can't invite anybody. You can't share the event, so no big
Yeah.
deal. Yeah, we got a few people checking in already today, which is terrific. And then this will be out there that anybody wants to watch it later. Sam, you want to do anything before I kind of tell them what our formal or our normal setup is?
No, I was just going to say we've given him two rough intros, so give him a good intro. Let him give his nickel tour of why he's sitting in front of us tonight, and then from there we can see where it goes, and it tends to go somewhere good. So Ryan, don't hesitate to allow
And
yourself to open up so other men can see that we can open up, especially about some super serious stuff like that
Sure.
you went through, but also don't put yourself in any situation that's going to make you feel weird. So we
Yeah.
appreciate you being here. Um, please know that these stories and these interactions that we do have on this in this group, it's maybe not tonight, maybe not tomorrow, but somebody's going to resonate with this. And so what we do and what we say, remember, it's got power to it. So I just drank a bunch of cold water and got the shiver. So Jared, let him take the reins.
yeah, great. So I'm going to introduce Ryan Mueller, professional three-gun shooter that has traveled the world handling firearms, teaching gun safety, teaching about the industry. Ryan, we're going to give you an opportunity to talk about your family, talk about your life, talk about your dude reset that you had when you had a little incident on a dirt bike. I wrote down some just quick notes. We talk about an identity pivot. We talk about a mental horizon, some things like that. So give us a quick intro. Tell us about yourself, what you've been doing prior to an accident, what you've been, and just a quick little intro, I guess. Tell me about that. People don't know what a professional three-gun shooter is.
So yeah, I think I started at the beginning of the live. Sam wasn't sure what three gun is. So it's just competitive shooting. Three gun is rifle, pistol, and shotgun. So mainly ARs, just because that's the gun that rules the game, right? And it is purely a game. It's not military or training for that or anything like that. But it is a game that we play competitively. All over the country, all over the world. We've done some traveling with that stuff too. My wife and I both get to do it, which is really nice, to get to hang out with her most of the time anyhow. But yeah, that's essentially what we did. We do a lot of the Second Amendment advocacy work, education, safety training, not you know, we're not the NRA saying that everybody should have a gun or anything like that, but we try to help as many people as we can along the way. It's a pretty cool gig. There's probably 10 people in the whole country that actually get to do this for a living, and we're two of them. So it's pretty special to get to do that. We have been very integrated into the firearms community. A lot of the companies, especially the more premium brands. So we built a lot of good relationships with them, and it's been a fun ride. It's slowed down quite a bit. My wife does more of the Second Amendment advocacy stuff here recently. She's trying to build her program there, which is doing really well. But what do you guys want to know? You want me to just go straight into what
Great.
happened, or what's up?
Nope, nope. That's great. That was a great little intro. So, as a professional three-gun shooter, people don't know what a pro is compared to an amateur. This is open to anybody to come and play. You always tell me I need to come compete, but tell me about the highest levels that you've achieved anywhere, just so we kind of understand what your game was and how good you were playing it.
So the neat thing about the three gun is that it's for everyone at any level. So Jared, you know, you shoot some shotguns, shoot some clays. You can shoot a rifle a little bit, all that stuff. You could come out and you could play the game and you could have fun. The difference being is it's like basketball, right? Is you can go out and you can play every once in a while, you can have fun, or you can go and you can be at a pro level on it. So that requires a lot more work. That requires a lot more intensive gear, training, etc. So as for a level, there was 4.1 million people that did it worldwide, and I think there was 165,000 or so in the U.S. last year. And the times that we had a world shoot, I was fourth, and fifth in the world. So I was one of the best. I was one of the top 10 shooters about every year in the country, across multiple disciplines. If that gives you any, I do a little bit of long range stuff. I like to hunt. I grew up hunting. It's what I do, and I'd like to do some more of that, but it doesn't pay my bills yet. So,
Well, that's awesome.
by professional, what that means is my wife was a cop for 22 years down in Tulsa. She worked gangs and narcotics on the north side of Tulsa for 20 years. Then she went to another squad where I met her, and I was an engineer in an aerospace company. We made transparency parts for a lot of your major airlines and helicopters and all that. So, got into the shooting, and that's when the relationship started going. I did really well. I tend to soak up what other people say pretty well, and I was shooting with the people that were at the top of the game and had been at the top of the game for the last 40 years. So all I had to do was learn what they did, and athletic wise, I could keep up. I was pretty athletic growing up. I could run around and jump and do all the things, and not college sports or anything like that, but I was definitely athletic enough to play the game and play it well. And so accompanying that with the knowledge that I had from the people that were much better than me and reproducing what they did, I made the pro series after about 6 months of actual shooting. That gives you kind of some insight into where the path looked like.
So awesome. Congrats. I mean, yeah, it's hard for us to talk to somebody about something and realize that you were fourth and fifth in the world on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
And so tell me, how many years were you in there as a professional before your injury? And what did you get injured?
I think it was probably a good 10, 11 years, because it's been 2 years. It's been just over 2 years since I wrecked the dirt bike.
Okay. Take us to that. Tell us about that. We might as well jump right there. Sam, you got anything before we get into this pivot or reset? Okay. Let's hear it. What happened?
So growing up, we used to ride dirt bikes. We used to ride, out the Quonset and do all the wheelies down the highway and all that stuff. So as you get older, at least I hope anyways, I think most of us start going to bed at 9 o'clock. And like most of the riding we did, we go to Colorado and we do trails with kids or the girls or something. Like, I didn't do anything stupid, no wheelies, no jumps, no real anything. I had got another motorcycle. It was a trail bike, and I was doing heat cycles. It's a 2-stroke, which means you heat the engine up, let it cool down, heat the engine up, let it cool down. No real high revs, no big pulls or anything like that. And our driveway is relatively steep. And I was going so slow, and I don't remember a lot of this stuff because of the drugs they hammer you with whenever you get hurt. Kills a lot of your memory. But I think what happened was I was going so slow, and I remember kind of spinning out. And I think whenever I gassed it to get out of that and get on up the hill in loose gravel, it caught and just flipped me on my butt. Well, you're probably 3 feet off the ground. And even though I wasn't going, but maybe 10 miles an hour, the way I landed, the doctors told me that it was exactly wrong. And essentially what I did was I just, from 3-4 feet up in the air, I just slammed onto my tailbone, onto my butt, and I burst fractured, which just means crumbled. It just means broke. I don't know why they call it that, but I broke my sacrum, my coccyx, so my tailbone area, and then the part that holds your pelvis together, I crushed that. That's the part that your spinal cord turns into whenever it starts to turn into nerve. So that was all broke. And then it went on up my back, and I basically compressed my whole spine in that area. I just smashed it on top of each other, and the force goes up your back until it finds a weak spot, and then it crushed another vertebrae inside and out, which was my T12. And I had a bone stuck in my spinal cord, but it didn't cut the cord itself. It just bruised it. And they found out whenever they got into the first surgery. So that was good, because once you break that lining, then you get the fluids leaking out, and you might have broke stuff, and it could have been a lot worse. But um, yeah, I laid in my driveway for a while. Went to the hospital. Got told that I had a pinched nerve, and then everything was going to be fine. And then they flew me to Tulsa, which they found out that all of the things that I just mentioned were really done. And they put me in the first surgery. They went in my back. They pulled all the outside stuff out of the spinal cord and did all that. I got plates, screws, rods, and then the next day, I think they gave me a day break, and then so the third day, they go in your side and they push your guts down, they cut your lung and push it over into the other side of your chest cavity, and they go in your chest and they take the inside of the inside vertebrae out, and they grind it up and they put it in a metal cage and they stick it back in and they screw that all back together and then sew you back up. So that's what I went through for surgery wise.
It's a good spot to stop for a minute. Sam, you're making some facial expressions.
I can't see any of you guys. I don't know how to
And
do that.
because I saw your purple ass after you put it into the gravel, the one
Yeah,
thing that, I mean, you said how you landed medically, but you did a cannonball into the driveway is pretty much what happened. Is that right?
pretty much. Dad said you could actually see on the ground where I landed. It busted the gravel around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and my ass was all chewed up and bloody, and I knew that. Like, I'd ripped the back of my pants out. I knew it was bloody, but when I was laying there, and I don't know if you guys hunt or anything like that, but when you shoot a deer or a cow or whatever, they pull their legs in, they pull everything in, and that's what's Charlie Kirk is a great example. When you see him pull his arms in like that, that was because his spinal cord is damaged. That's what happens when you shoot something in the brain. My legs did that, so my knees pulled together, and I could feel everything. Like, I could feel that my sister was taking my shoes off, but I couldn't move them. I couldn't move anything from the waist down, really, but I could feel it all. But yeah, my ass was a black and blue, like I've never. It looked like the inside of a thigh on a softball chick when they take one into the thigh. That's what my whole butt looked like, inside and out.
So, a couple things here. I know you took a selfie as you were laying there. Tell me what you were thinking during your selfie. And then the other part is all you got to do is holler at your wife because she's in the house to get help, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot about all that stuff. Yeah, I tell you what I was doing. I was very lucky because my parents were in Texas. It was a Sunday. We had just got back from church and my sister had just left. Our house is off the road, and it's a road that doesn't get driven down that much. And I usually don't have my phone on me. And my wife is in Thailand. She's shooting the World Shotgun Challenge over there. So she's on a different time zone, has no idea what's going on. So basically, no one's coming by my house for a good week. Um, but I had my phone on me, so I wanted to see kind of what was behind me because I couldn't roll over. I couldn't really do much. I was hurting pretty bad, and so I'm looking behind me, and I was like, well, hell, I might as well take a picture. So, anyways, a lot of people got a good kick out of that. Thought I was just messing around, even though I'm laying on the ground, paralyzed. And but you don't know, like when something like that happens. Of course, you get adrenaline, and I know I've had other injuries and stuff, and I usually stay pretty calm in wrecks or whatever. I mean, hell, we've all been in wrecks together, I think, haven't we, Stice? But I was pretty calm, collected, and just kind of thought through stuff to the point that when the ambulance finally got there, even they went to drive through all of my neighbors because they missed my entries or somehow. I told the guy, I said, hey, I said, my adrenaline's starting to wear off and I know what's coming. And he proceeded to ask me a bunch of questions about what I was doing and what I ended up calling him, a year later or so and saying, like, what the hell? I guess it wasn't a year, it was months later after I got back home. Like, what were you doing? Why? Like, I'm paralyzed and here you are wasting time. And they were finding out whether or not I've been drinking because they would treat me differently. He didn't think I had any pants on because I was wearing shorts and my sister had covered me up with a coat. So
Huh.
it was a good time. And once they did figure out that I was actually busted all to hell, they gave me fentanyl, three of those, or no, 3 deals of Dilaudid, a fentanyl, and a Valium. So basically, I was dead to the world and couldn't see anything.
I don't even know where that takes you.
What's
Well,
that?
I said, I don't even know where that takes you, that concoction. Luckily, I've never had to have it.
Dilaudid is
Oh, I
six
don't know
times
if I
more
need.
powerful than fentanyl. It's basically heroin.
Okay. Luckily, I don't know that one either, but
I don't. Yeah, that I don't either. But everybody knows what it's 8 times more powerful than morphine. If that gives you an idea of what it
sure.
does. But
So you ended up in the hospital, you do surgery, and then you just stand up and start walking? Or, I mean, people don't know now. I guess
no,
maybe it's a
they
fresh move. You're laying in a bed, you're not paralyzed today.
Yeah, no, I'm laying in bed because my wife's upstairs on a conference call. So I was like, well, shit, I might as well lay down. And I've been working on her office all day. So essentially, like, and I feel like I'm just sitting around here talking to everybody way too much. But what happened was the doctors were very good about telling you that they don't know, as opposed to saying, oh, you're going to be fine like they did in Coffeyville. It was just totally a lie. My neurosurgeon said after the second surgery, he comes in, he goes, wiggle your toes. I said, I can't. And he was a very matter of fact guy. He had terrible people skills, no personality. Him and I got along great because we didn't have time for your bullshit. And he goes, well, he said, you'll probably never walk again without a walker. And that was kind of like it. He was very matter of fact. And I was like, well, that's just not ideal. And the thing is you can't, like on a spinal cord or something like that, you can't will yourself into getting feeling or getting moving. You can't just say, I'm going to willpower this. You can willpower through pain, but there's no, like, your brain isn't talking to your feet. Can't do anything about that really, except try and try and try. And I did a lot of that. And I don't know if it does any good or not, but no, they told me that I would probably never walk again, especially without a walker. And the vertebrae I broke was your T12, and that's what controls your bladder and your bowel. So I didn't take a piss for a while. Like, your guts are all messed up. You can't shit. You can't control whatever. And in the hospital, you can't really tell anyways. But it was a week before I took a piss on my own, and that was almost stubbornness because the putting the catheter in and out, like, that didn't bother me at all. I could run a tube up my pee hole, just don't even care. Be like, just like, oh, there's your bladder, everything's done, no big deal. But the pitch of it was, they're like, you're gonna have to do this every 6 hours. I was like, I don't have time for that shit. Every 6 hours, you want me to stop and do this? I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So I worked very hard at taking a piss. Um, yeah.
And that's part of training your bladder. Is that what they wanted you to do so that it wouldn't have an accident?
No, it was basically because they had tried multiple times to get me to go on my own, and it, like, I had no feeling. You just never feel like you got to pee.
Sure.
And that's like you start. That's the big, like, whenever, of course, like, you get hurt, everybody comes to see you, everybody sends gifts and every food and everything, but sooner or later that's going to wear off, and people are going to go back to their daily lives like they should. And that's kind of when you start to realize, like, oh shit, like, because I was pretty active, like, I got around pretty well, could take care of myself pretty good. And I'm a daylight to dark kind of person, and so that, to me, is the biggest kick in the gut. Is all that changes. Your job
Yeah.
goes away, your money goes away. We just built a new house, bought property, all the things that can just go away immediately. And you're going to sit around and be a burden on someone else for the rest of your life. That's the mental things. And I don't know if you guys know, but Jared's brother, Jordy, is paralyzed. Like, I called him and, like, hey, give me the rundown on the shit that you need to be doing and thinking. And a lot of the advice he gave me was try everything, for recovery. I thought that was really good advice. Like, try all the drugs, all the processes, all the exercises, do it all.
Hmm.
Because what's going to be the worst thing happen? You're paralyzed. So,
Yeah.
anyways, that's kind of, does that answer whatever question it is that we started out before I started rambling?
Oh no, I think you're doing great. I mean, that was good to get us to there. So you're in the hospital, and what I'm gonna probably look at next is recovery, and you're gonna start doing physical therapy. I know you had some success with peptides. You looked at a lot of things. We talk in here about a lot of different experiences. You probably had some things that were open to you if you traveled outside of the country, some things that were available here in the U.S. One of the things was expectations versus reality, and you can talk about that in recovery and you can talk about it after you were better. But I also wonder, like, what the doctors told you versus what you saw? How did all that align as now you start this recovery process? And when did things start to come back? Little wins were celebrated. I mean, because you're a guy that measures things, you know, by doing them. So when did you start seeing some success, and you either got hopeful or said like, okay, it matters. It does matter that I'm trying to squeeze my toes, things like that.
Yeah, and it
And
like
and
I
I'm going to say too, right quick, what's the timeline as you're progressing? You know, like you get hurt, you know, and I like how you said that, like family and friends, they come and they hang out, but then eventually real life, you know, they've got to get back to their real life. That moment right there is what I'm trying to get every dude in here to understand is that was your real life funeral. Like you got to experience if you die, that's what happens. People come, they console, they love, they hug, and then it's like, well, shit, I got to go back to work, or you know, like I'm hungry, or I got to run my dog, or whatever it is. Like life
yeah,
starts, and so you were literally sitting there, paralyzed, laying there, whatever the scenario, right?
yep.
Paralyzed. All everybody left. What did that emptiness feel like? Like that's right now talking about it scares me, and I have nothing to do with that. Tell us
You know,
like
and
what did that feel like, and what did you have to do to not succumb to depression and all of that stuff?
well, I think I probably didn't succumb to it because things went well. Um, my recovery, you know, there's a whole lot of stuff that you guys brought up, but yeah, I'd like to do stem cells. I'd still like to do them, but it's 40 grand to go to Panama. And I just heard some stuff the other day about maybe a place in Kansas City. I think stem cells are a big deal. I did peptides. I'm a firm believer in peptides. And the only reason I say that is because I did more than, from a recovery standpoint, I did more than what most people would do. My recovery, in hindsight, when I went back to my first checkup, I spent a month in ICU. Like I spent a month laying in bed before I ever even got to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when I went back, I was in a wheelchair, and the doctor said, he goes, "Well, can you stand up?" I said, "Well, what do you mean, can I stand up?" He goes, "Can you stand up out of your chair?" I said, "I can walk 100 feet." You know, so with a walker, like I didn't get out of a walker to go anywhere. Um, but he goes, "Oh," he said, you shouldn't even be able to walk yet." Like he was amazed at my progress and how fast it went because it should have taken a whole lot longer. So I was taking the CJC 1295 and the BPC 157, the TB 500. Those were the three peptides that I was getting pumped full of. And I've got a cousin that does this. She was IVing me some stuff that had so much shit in it, it looked like iced tea going in my veins. But whatever it was, I felt great whenever I got done with it. Um,
Question for you, can I?
yep.
When did you see the doctor, and when were you walking 100 feet? Was this 10 days after the wreck? Was this 30 days out of, this was out of ICU,
No,
30
like I
days
said,
out of
I spent a
recovery?
month in ICU. Like
So this is after you got out of
I didn't come
ICU.
home until it happened on December 10th of 20, what, 24?
Yeah.
And I didn't come home until like the 10th of January.
Okay.
So when I got home, I basically laid on the couch for probably another 2 weeks. Time really got away from me in that because as soon as I came home, I got off all of the drugs, all the oxycodones and the gabapentins and the baclofens and the triazid, like all the muscle relaxers and the nerve stuff and the painkillers. I wanted to get off all that crap. And the because of our shooting, we're heavily involved with like the special forces level community. So I get a lot of those guys in call. You know, they've been blown up, and that was I know enough guys that have arms and legs blown off or eyes blown out and stuff like that. That like your perspective of an accident is like mine's not that bad. Like, yeah, I can't walk, but like you know, the stuff's still attached to me, so there's a chance, right? I did have pretty good perspective going through that, but yeah, it was a month in ICU, probably another 2 weeks of laying around before I started really trying to do stuff. And when I say I could walk 100 feet, I could do that before I came home.
Mhm.
It was shady as hell, and like at the end of 100 feet, that was literally as far as my body would take me. I'm rolling sweat off my face. I think Walt, you came by, Stice, you came by and like shake my legs and stuff. Walt came by when I was doing physical therapy, and it was rough. It was real rough. Like at how much your body goes away in the course of 3 weeks of laying in bed. Like my legs, I've always had pretty good strong legs. They were as big around as your arms. You know, that it just goes away.
Yeah,
The atrophy
depletion.
is away.
Yeah. I remember when you were doing physical therapy and the nurses were like, hey, we'll do physical therapy if you're up for it. And you said, I want to do it as often as I am allowed to do it. How much can I do it? And, it was obvious that you were in pain that entire time. And I
Oh yeah.
remember them continually trying to get you to calm down and do less. And you said, no, I'm doing this now. If I can do it as much as I want, I'm doing it. I'm the one in charge of this pain.
Oh yeah. So for anybody's reference, like rehab is kind of a total joke for the majority of what I think most men should be. They want you to like do brain games and do a play hangman and throw a ball back and forth. And basically I told them, I was like, my brain works just fine. I didn't hit that. Like I want to do physical therapy 3 times a day. I get 3 different deals. I don't need you to teach me how to get in and out of a car. I can figure that out. I can pick myself up with my arms if I need to. I don't want to do the games. Like I want to do physical stuff. And so they were good about it because they would like when they're doing their charting and stuff, they'd come down and get me like, hey, wheel down here and we're just going to make you ride a bike for 45 minutes. That's the stuff I wanted to do. I wanted them to teach me how to do it. And going back to that, what the armed forces guys say is they say do. You have to do. So the doctors are telling you, take it easy, let your body recover. Nothing that you do is going to make you heal any faster. And that's true like on your spinal cord and your nerves. But whenever stuff starts firing, the muscles need to be ready to go was my thought. And so I would just do. It's funny because today I had an Instagram memory and I was driving a tractor down the road. And so it would have been 2 years ago. What's today? The 10th? February 10th?
Third.
Third.
Third. Okay, so yeah, basically 2 months, a little less than 2 months from being paralyzed, and I was driving a tractor. Now to do that, I had to get my walker and go outside, and I would put my walker in the bucket of a tractor and then crawl down the side of the tractor with my arms, crawl up, and I could get my legs, I could pick them up onto the steps and get into the seat, and then I'd drive a tractor around. But it's, sounds terrible, and everybody gave me a lot of hell for that. Like, oh, what are you doing? I was like, well, it's a great seat, and it makes you move your legs and think about stuff. Because what you don't understand is like you literally have to teach yourself to walk again. Like if you ever see a baby that's hanging on to like an end table or something, they're kind of bouncing on the. That's not because they're bouncing for fun. My body did the same thing. It's your body trying to tell yourself how to stand up. And it's like, oh, you're falling, stand up. And so whenever I would start walking, I had to think about absolutely everything I do. Try to pick your toe up, flex your quad to straighten it out, go forward. And I did that. I would go out on my deck for like an hour at a time and try to take a step and try to let go of the railing and take a step or try to do anything. And it was quick. You would take a step and you might only take 1 or 2 steps for the first several days, but then the days after that, you might take 2 or 3 steps. And it was probably a week later that I could walk from one end of the deck to the other, but I couldn't turn around. And then the next week I could turn around. And a lot of those things happened that way and that fast because I was continually working on them. Now, as my legs started working and like, I'm still not 100%, but I get around and do pretty good. I can't run yet. I still have a lot of spasms, a lot of pain. And I still have new muscles working. I've got my inner, you've got 3 hamstrings. My inner hamstrings for the last week have been working and they're sore as hell now. But pain means that things are healing. So that's definitely.
When did you start the peptides? And you said that whoever was giving you the IVs. Did you only go to a person or did you end up taking those yourself? And if so, how did you consume them?
It's a prescription. My cousin does it, so she just gave me prescriptions for whatever she recommended, and I gave myself the shots. That was no big deal. Like the BPC, I would inject it. I would reach into my back, like into my hip and something, and feel a tingly spot because like a big chunk of my back feels like your foot when it goes to sleep or something. It starts to come back. It tingles like that. I would just jam the needle in that and inject it.
And that was with the BP 157?
Yep.
That's what I've heard. If you try to get as direct to the tingle or to the nerve or to the feeling, That
Yep.
that's what people say, and I don't know enough about it, but you and another guy in here are the ones that have real life experience with this stuff. Next
Yeah.
question: Are
So
you still
BPC is a
taking that
body
stuff?
protective compound, and it's made from the gastric juices in your stomach. So they just use some of that, and it's the way your body heals itself already. It's just putting some of that right into your. Like I have a tendon in my knee that gets real sore every once in a while. And like I'll wake up one morning, I didn't step wrong, I didn't do anything, but that tendon, like it's swollen and blown up. I will inject that stuff, and in 2 days, it'll be gone.
Crazy. So
Yeah.
so you're still taking this stuff to this day?
Yes.
Okay.
And I have a friend that's in Big Pharma. She was a big executive there, and I asked her about it, and she said, absolutely. She said peptides are effective enough. Now I'm talking about the peptides that do that stuff. I'm not talking about the ones where they make your skin tan and all the stuff. Like I don't know that I would be injecting myself with all those things, but there are certain peptides that she said are so effective that the FDA is pulling their approval. They will monetize it and then re-release the approval so they can make more money on it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the fence on that BP 157 and TB 500 stack just because of age and just longevity and all of the things. But we don't need to get on that train, but we definitely could. Um, so let's go back to this. And I know things went well and you were progressing. And so some of the mental state, you didn't necessarily have to fall into the, to the, whatever, the dark side, so to speak. How,
Well,
what was your daily, because you had to have a daily mantra or a daily repeat that you went through in the mental thing to prepare for the 3 physical therapies a day, or the letting go of the handrail when you're trying to learn to rewalk, or letting go to turn around, like the some. And I ask this because some dudes do not have it in them to go that extra mile. They do not have it. They would rather get the diagnosis and deal with it, and then whatever that new life looks like. So what was your mantra? What was your mindset on, like not me, motherfucker? Like, no, it ain't happening to me.
pretty much that's exactly the way you have to look. So I'll kind of just go back through the whole experience and what your mental state is. So and I start with like faith, right? So people, it's funny to me, and I've thought about this a lot. People always pray when they need something, or they pray when things go bad. And what I've learned through this was I was one of those people. And like when things go bad, you start praying, like, why the hell haven't I been doing this all the time? So I would say one of the great things is, I mean, this has been good for me in a relationship with my older sister, because it wasn't well, and it is now. Me and my relationship with Christ, with the way my relationship with my wife, all the things, like it's actually gotten better because you get a big dose of reality. Like you said earlier, you get to die and you get to see what the kind of the brink of what that looks like, and the people that care about you, and all of the people I had. It was amazing, the hospital stay. um Hell, I had people from the downstairs wanting to know who was up there in that room based on the letters from some of the people I was getting. It's like, I'm a nobody. We just happen to know other people. But in any case, that's like, start with your faith like that. And then you basically have to make a decision. And like you said, a lot of people don't have that. That's the same thing my doctor told me. He was an old Army surgeon, got a lot of his stuff done in Desert Storm. He was a whiteout surgeon. He was great, but he was also used to what he told me was people in Tulsa. He goes, most of the dudes in Tulsa just sit around and be paralyzed. And I said, well, I don't have time for that shit. I said, he goes, what do what would make you happy? I said, I want to get up at daylight. I said, I want to build fence, cut wood, and work outside all day. And I want to come back in at the end of the day, eat a big meal, and be able to go to bed. Like, that's what I want to do. Now, that may not be realistic. You may not get that lucky, but that needs to be your expectation. So I would say you have to set very high expectations of where you want to get to and what you want to do. Because there ain't nobody going to do it for you. They're not going to set the goals for you. It's kind of like the difference in, it's like going to college. Like college don't care if you get an A or pass. No one gives a shit except you. So you have to start sooner or later being responsible for yourself, and and doing what needs to be done. And that's kind of the way I looked at it, was like, I don't know if you call it stubbornness, that's what I was been told, or stupidity, or I've probably been told that too. But just, you have to be absolutely stubborn in the way you're going to do stuff. Because everything hurts. Like, it was amazing. I've never been in that much pain. I don't ever want to do that again. I had a half inch, or if it was a 5/8 tube hanging out the side of my chest for a while. Like, beating around inside your chest cavity, and I was basically, all my insides were just beat to shit. So, like, taking a step hurt my insides. Riding a buggy in the yard, that hurt, like everything. So, you have to push through all that stuff, and you have to know that the only way you're going to get better is because of the work you put into it. So you just have to make a decision. That would be one of the things I say, is you're going to have to make a decision when something like that happens on what you're going to do. And it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to wait till you get in a car wreck or wreck a dirt bike before you make a decision to do something. Like, say, I'm going to go to the gym at least 3 times a week. Like, set a realistic goal. Don't say I'm going to go on a crash diet and work out twice a day, because you're probably not going to do that after the first month. But set a realistic goal and then hold yourself accountable to it.
That's great.
That's music to my ears, man. Like I just love that exact phrasing can come from somebody else, and that brings us back to our last week, Jared, the goals, and it's like, are we setting high enough goals? Do we know? Do we even know how high of a goal we can set? And it's like, well, this cat daddy right here just was paralyzed, and he could have been paralyzed, or he could have set the absolute highest goal he knew to himself and accomplish it, and so I like that gets to tie back in, because this is a perfect time. Like, just think, if he didn't set enough goals, or a high enough goal, like, oh, I just wanted this, or I just wanted that. Like, we can't ever, and I'm kind of now going back into a balloon bigger picture, but like, we can't ever sell ourselves short, no matter what the scenario is, right? Like, we have to
Sure.
live in the moment. We have to live in the now, because it can be taken from us at any moment. And
Yep.
then if there is a moment in time that absolutely drastically changes your life, you still have to look at the man in the mirror and decide what you're going to do. And that's what tonight was all about. That's what this group's all about. So I don't need to go on a tangent with that. But Jared, definitely kind of give us, a closing segue, or something you had on your agenda for the evening,
Sure.
because this thing's cruising. I'm not ready to get out of here, but like,
Yeah.
time's flying tonight, because this is real heavy stuff, and this is a guy that went from world class paralyzed.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, that would ruin me. Like, I would have to dig and hopefully be able to find the courage to pull myself out of that. Like, we can sit here and talk about it because it is good, and he is in good shape, but like that's a big deal, and I think we all have that in us, and that's my goal, if I have one for this group, is for every dude to know that they have it in it, but also know you can get to it. And you don't, like he said, you don't have to have a bike wreck or a car wreck or something. Like, decide who you want to be, and freaking be it. And that's it. So, um, anyway, I don't want to close it out, but Ryan, I
Sure.
appreciate this. This is inspirational beyond understanding right now, and I hope you know that. So thank you. And I
Well,
guess I do
something
have a
to know
question.
is, you talk about people having it in you, is like, the majority of people can be Navy SEALs. They just don't know it. Like,
Or
that's the whole
won't do
process
it.
of what they
Or they
do.
won't do it.
Is What's that?
Or they just won't do it. Like, they'll need
Yeah,
the
that's what
courage
I'm
and
saying.
fortitude
They
to
won't do it, or they don't know they can. That's what the whole military, they do. That's the way they. And I think, Sam, you were in the military. You get it. Like,
Yep.
they break you down, and then they make you prove to yourself what you're capable of, and you're capable of a hell of a lot more than what's ever been expected of you, most likely, outside of, you get into professional sports or something like that. But most people have never had expectations that high. Therefore, they've never had to do it.
So
But
Mueller,
more people are capable than you think.
Sam brought it up earlier on goals and stuff like this, and I've never thought about it. As you're saying it out loud, and then he points out, like, your personality and your lifestyle may have been a big attribute as to your recovery. Like, you guys send me a Christmas letter every year that says everything you did all year long. Like, you measure it out, you know exactly what happened, you know where you went, and you already have the next year planned when I get that Christmas letter. I know that.
Oh yeah,
So, and that's
that's my
probably
wife too. She's a lot better at that than I am.
well, that's the planning, but I mean, it's also the professionalism.
Yep.
I'll show up to a race and forget to fuel up my buggy. You don't do that when you go. You're somewhere. You're professional. I'm an amateur at everything. Tell me about that. Like, maybe how being a professional athlete already, and I mean, honestly, right after you got hurt, you had time, good or bad. You had the time to be able to focus on that. And I know running out of money is a real thing. But tell me a little bit about that goal setting, marking, having these goals, knowing where things are at. We talked about a couple different ways to track your year or track your cycle last week, but what have you guys done? And is there anything you've changed, since you've had an injury like this?
So we've actually taken it to a little bit higher level, and this is Di and I have started to trying to at least being more structured, because we went from very structured lives. Like, I got up at 4:20 every morning. I went to the gym. I went to work by 7:30. I got off at 5. Like, I was very structured. She was a cop. She was the same way. And then we went into the shooting where we could do whatever we wanted to anytime we wanted to, really. Um, that was actually hard. That was a struggle. So what we've started trying to do since then is have meetings on Sunday night and go over what the next week is going to look like. Look through our finances, look through the credit cards, make sure that that there's nothing that's spammy on there, whatever it is. And then, like, we have calendars in the next room over. Like, we go through and we try to do that. So we'll set goals for the year. And then what we did together was, it was a process. So we wrote down like 10 things that says, I am this. And then we wrote down ways that we could get to that. And then we focused on one. We picked out one thing and it says, I'm going to do this. And everything that you do needs to be focusing on that. And if it's not focusing on that, then you shouldn't be messing with it. And it could be a vague thing. So, I'm going to grow my business. So you need to spend a lot of your goals and your time doing that one thing, and to be growing your business. But one thing that I always stuck to was setting realistic goals. And I talked about that a little bit earlier, but in industry, personal life, all that stuff is, make sure that your goal is realistic and attainable, but also strong enough to actually make a change. Don't set a goal that I'm only 3,000 calories a day or something, when anybody can do that, right?
Sure.
But don't say 500 either, would be my point, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. There's one of it was going to be my last question, but I want to ask it now. We talked about, not having any dark days. Is there an unasked question that you want to be asked?
No, I've talked, it seems like, for most of an hour. Gosh, I'm trying to think of the darkest day. I tell you what, the hardest thing, honestly, to do was not accept that you might not walk again, because my mentality for all of that was like, I'll get better. Like, I really just didn't believe other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they say that it's the doctor, he's pretty much knows, right? He's like, no, you're probably not going to walk again. It's like, I just didn't let that happen. But the worst times that I had, I would say, I could deal with all the pain and, like, my feet, it feels like you're spraying me with hot water right now, laying in bed. But the worst times I had was in the very early moments of waking up. I might wake up on the couch or something, and you're like, I'm going to run in and grab something to eat, or I'm going to run into the kitchen. And it's like, you go to hop up and you're not fully awake yet, and you don't hop up. That was, like, mentally the worst I ever got. Was like, oh shit, I just went to go do something naturally, muscle memory wise, and the memories were gone. That was the toughest spot.
Yeah. That's good. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. So I guess, like, closing or something, I guess my things would be, start living now like you would after, like, instead of having regrets, start doing it now. Whatever you're going to do, if you want to be a better husband, a better wife, whatever that is, we're going to no longer have front row parking at Walmart. Josh is still an asshole. Do whatever it is that you would do later, do it now. Get
Yeah.
that shit done now. Get your stuff squared away now. Don't think that it's going to happen later because you, like, literally, you never know. I was happy riding around in my yard, perfectly physical capable to do just about anything I wanted to do, and then 30 seconds later, that's gone. So whatever it is you need to do in your life, quit screwing around, quit waiting, and do it now.
Yeah. We say not one day, but today's day one. So
Yeah,
still
that's a
make
good way of
progress.
saying it.
Yeah. Sam, you want to do a wrap up or anything there?
I guess the one question I have that didn't get completely clarified, what is what at what level do you get to walk now? Can you squat with weight? Can you walk briskly and turn at a 90 degree, or like are you lazy walking but it's controlled? Like what I'm really curious on what you're
My
actually.
balance is still a little off because of all the muscles and communication it takes to get you to balance. Like you're flexing 300 muscles or something like that just to stand that you don't even know about. And my calf muscles are super tight all the time. They're about half flexed, and I can't really relax those well, so I can't pick my toes up. So I can't run. Like I can almost kind of jog, but I mean, I go upstairs, I drive, I can't run. I can drive a standard vehicle. Sometimes every once in a while my legs will kind of shake, but I figured out how to concentrate and focus on those to get them to stop. Um, but no, I do everything. I don't necessarily squat with a bunch of weight, but I could no, I could probably squat 100 pounds.
But you
You
can
can throw
bend
100
down and
pounds
pick
on
a
my
kid
shoulders,
up
and I would be able to
for
squat
a
that just
barrel
because
of
I'm.
water or something.
What's that?
You could bend down and pick a kid up or carry a bucket of water or something like that.
Oh, I carry 2 buckets of water. Yeah, in
Okay.
fact, two is easier so you don't have to balance, right? No, I
I
mean,
mean,
I
they were
just
too
carried
easy.
it's about 7, 8 feet long, 2 inches thick, and a foot wide of walnut down the stairs today to hang a shelf.
Wow,
So I'm
cool.
looking at it right now because I didn't get it hung all the way. But no, I do all those things. Within the first 6 months, I was hauling square bales. So that was the doctor basically told me that was probably on the level of stupid, but but it was only like one trailer load, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, I
But
mean that's as good of a compound twisting moving as a guy can get. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I
um,
was slow. In fact, the hardest part was walking from one bale to the next.
yeah,
Um, because what happens is your body goes into protection mode. So the more my nerves get aggravated, you just start locking up muscles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's a question that Jared. I don't know if anybody can see all the comments, but just before we close out, is there anybody in the group that has any questions for Ryan type away before we close out? This was neat. This was more than I expected tonight. I appreciate this, Ryan. Thanks.
Where are you at these days, Sam?
Well, we didn't just now at this point, but we bought a house in Altamont this beginning of
Oh,
the
no
school
shit.
year.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think the last time I saw you might have been at that shit Walter got us into down in Oklahoma that time.
that was my first, last, and only concert security gig right there, my friend. God dang.
The pay just wasn't there.
Yeah, yeah. Green room. We didn't even get a little baby snack cakes or nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Hey, Mueller, do you think your recovery's done, or are there still things left that you're trying to improve on? I know our life's not done. We're still working toward better every day, but is there anything like what's your next baby step toward recovery, or is it all what it is for
If
now?
I could, like, I can deal with the burning and the nerve pain and all that stuff. It's aggravating and just pisses you off sometimes. But if I can get to where I can, like, jog or run, like, I would consider that to be basically healed. Like, I'm not going to they said my back's stronger than it was before I got hurt,
Sure.
all braced up. So that's not going to go bad. And yeah, it's slow, and the most aggravating part is how long it takes for things to happen. But like I said, my legs just started working differently like 2 weeks ago. So I walk differently just from doing that. I can go upstairs without hanging onto a rail. Like there's just lots of little things that happen, and you still have your bad days. If I sit in a plane for too long, like I'll get stiffened up. But I didn't used to be able to walk up an incline. Like if it was a slight grade up, like up my driveway, like I here in this flat spot, like Stice, you know what I'm talking about. I couldn't walk up that, and now like I can climb the hill out front. So
That's good.
it's getting better. And I've got a buddy that's a Black Hawk helicopter pilot, and he crashed and broke his back. And he said it took almost 20 years, and he's like from the chest down, nothing's going to happen. And he goes, I can feel pressure in my legs now. He said last year I could feel temperature. This year I can feel pressure. So it's always healing. It's always going to go.
That's great, man. I don't have anything else. Sam, anything else before we wrap up? You're muted, Sam. You're muted, Sam.
Sorry, Ryan. Do you
Yeah.
mind if this goes on the Sammy's Yoga Sesh YouTube channel?
No, I
I
didn't
get
say.
like 3 or 4 views, so it's probably going to go viral. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
3
that's good.
or 4, not 34.
3, possibly 4.
Yeah.
You gotta throw in there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Go and smash that like button or whatever they always say.
Not me, Jack. But no, I want, because Facebook doesn't hold stuff, but I don't want this to ever go away, because
Yeah.
somebody sometime at some point is going to need a reference. They're like, a guy got paralyzed and he can still walk, and you know the power of how fast the globe, how fast networks work. So
Oh yeah. Yeah.
awesome. I'm good. I appreciate it, Jared. You good?
Yeah, absolutely. The one other thing I'll point out, is that Sammy's yoga sesh video was the one that we pulled up when we were in the hospital, so you could do seated yoga and seated twists and all that stuff sitting in the
Yep.
hospital. So that's where we first started at for physical therapy, was pulling up Sammy's yoga sesh.
That's crazy.
I said, when Sam made this, I told him it just needs to exist. Later, somebody will need it. Somebody will reference it. And there we were sitting there doing it.
Who would have thought? All right, dudes. Well, get after it in life. And if
Yep.
this video doesn't motivate you, hit the unsubscribe button here, because we don't want your little freaking ass in here. I'm lying. Watch it again because it's motivating and inspiring. So thanks. And I'm going to hit the finish button, dudes, and we'll see you guys next time, man. Awesome.
Thanks, Mueller. See you, buddy. See you, Sam.
Yep.
Bye-bye.